This meeting is being recorded. And admit Rod and call the meeting to order. So, that being said, we will start with correspondence. And Jim Pasikoff comes in. Just waiting for Rod. Rod, you're there you go. And Jim Pasikoff should be coming in here shortly. All right.
I'm there.
Hey, Jim, how we do?
Okay.
Good. I have from Sendluski Architects. You are invited to join us for a free firehouse and EMS facility design seminar. I don't know if that's something, Kevin, that interests you or not. I'm sure it's an advertisement. It is June 23rd at the Greenwood Lake Fire District main firehouse facility, which I'll lay you dollars to donuts they designed. So if you want that, Kevin, let me know.
I do have that, Steve.
What's that?
I have it.
Okay, good deal.
Is there a cost involved on that?
Free would indicate no.
Okay.
So if you want that, Bob, I'll give that to you.
Yeah, I'd like to just take a look at it. I don't even know where Greenwood is.
I think it's over in Sullivan County.
Okay.
All right, we have from FASNY, notice of the 149th annual FASNY convention in White Plains from August 5th through 7th. I will forward this to the fire chief staff if that's acceptable. We have from, I don't know if it's from the town of Clinton or the faux town of Clinton, because it says town of Clinton and it's kind of a cheap replica of their,
Here. Grab one of these seats.
it's a Hudson Valley Community Power, so we can sign up for a different green power source if we choose. I think we already opted about a year ago to sign into one. If done that, let me know. July 14 through 17 in the On Center in Syracuse is the NYSAFC 115th Annual Conference and Fire Expo 2021. I will forward that to the chief staff. Oh, the Dutchess County Volunteers Firemen Association Past President's Dinner honoring past President John Pom Pomerico is September 10th. I will forward that to the department. NFPA, we put answers right in your hand. You have questions, make sure you have NFPA everywhere we go. A advertising brochure. Central Hudson again. Is Kevin down the firehouse, Russell?
Russell. You mean Bob?
No, he means Kevin Russell.
Oh, Kevin Russell? Yeah, he's here.
Oh, okay. I have from Northeast Ford the recommendation that our 50,000 mile scheduled maintenance on our Ford Explorer may be due.
All right, let me go get him.
It's a coupon. Well, it's, I've got a prospectus from SPDR Blackstone Senior Loan ETF. Bob, I'll give that to you.
Okay.
That would complete the correspondence phase. All right, the minutes. We have all had opportunity to review the minutes. Thank you, Karen. And I need a motion, please, to accept the minutes for the May 12th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I need a
Seconded.
second. All right, any additions, corrections, modifications? You do a good job, Karen. All right, that being said, Kevin, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Russ,
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
And I will vote aye as well. That motion carries. All right. Financials. We have all had opportunity to review the vouchers and the bills. I covered a motion to pay the bills per the abstract.
I make a motion to pay the bills for the abstract.
Very good. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions, discussion, issues, desired modifications?
I just have to, we may need to write up a check for the ambulance. Just need to get approval for that if we do.
Well, they have had a delay. There was an issue in the painting of their new ambulance. I got a message from Tom Casey. So we may be able to table that until the July meeting.
Okay.
All right, Steve, I have one question. I see that you took your that class again.
Yeah, I did.
Right? So my question, I guess, is to Rod. I took it before December where I got elected. Do I need to take it again?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
So even though he took it like 6 months before, you gotta take it again?
Yes, the law says you have to take it within 270 days after being appointed or elected.
Okay, so-
And there's no exception if you get appointed and then get elected 3 months later. You're supposed to take it again.
Yeah, Rod, that's what I thought too. Okay. So yeah,
So your mistake,
Doesn't make much sense, but then that's our legislature.
your mistake, Kevin, was not waiting until the 269th day to take it after you got appointed, because then you could have probably counted it for both.
Or
no,
both.
Steve, my mistake was talking to you about 6 months ago.
Well, your other mistake was not waiting until 269.
Right. Yes. That was my second mistake.
All right. Any other questions or issues relative to the bills? All right, Mr. Jazinski, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. And by the way, these motions are carrying 4-0, Karen.
Yeah. Got it.
All right. Financials. I have had opportunity to review the bank statements. I do find that they are in agreement with the financial statements published by Mr. Paskoff and Mr. Simon, and I therefore move that we approve the financial statements as presented, and I covered a second.
I'll second.
All right. Any questions or issues or otherwise in those regards? Apparently not.
No.
All righty. Who did I start with first? Russ, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. Okay, independent audit status. Mr. Passenkoff and Mr. Simon, fill our ears with good news because we have 14 days to get it filed.
Yeah, I talked to Rebecca on Monday. I filled out all the paperwork that she needed. And and now all I have to do is collect all the documents. She still has to send to me the voucher requests, but I have the list for everything else. So I'll send the list that Karen needs to provide, plus she needs the contact information for all the commissioners and the chief staff. So I guess Karen, you can send that too then, right?
Mhm.
All right. And so she said, hopefully by the end of this week, beginning of next week, she'll send that to me.
So in other words, we don't have a chance at getting this thing in by June 30th.
Well, hopefully.
Probably
I don't
not.
know.
But you can't anyway unless you had a special meeting,
Well,
because you have to accept the financial statement before it can go in.
all right. Well, this is a bit tangential, but honestly, Jim, what percent of audits are actually filed by June 30th per the legislative directive?
I would say, I have no idea, but I've got to think it's in the 30% area.
Oh, so actually that many do make it.
It's really, really hard. They got to be really small fire districts to make it, that don't have any real financial things going.
All right.
Once you got LoSAP, you have to wait until you get the LoSAP report.
Right. All right, well, I'm 0 for 8 then. I think.
There's always next year.
That's right. Sound like a Dodger fan when they were in Brooklyn. All right, so we're keeping after that. And then we all saw in the vouchers that we reviewed per our directive, Bob Simon is going to transfer that $100,000 of the surplus that we decided that we were going to encumber. So you're going to do that post haste, right, Bob? And that will be done. We still at some point have a little bit more surplus we can deal with. I'm thinking we wait until we get through some of these financial transactions relative to the new ambulance, relative to hopefully selling that rehab and what other related expenses occur with that. So unless somebody wants to address that right now, I think we're going to move on. Does anybody?
Steve, we also have a $56,000 LoSAP payment for 2021.
That's
Oh,
part of the budget though. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's budgeted there.
yeah, we haven't done the LoSAP payment yet, have we?
Oh, no.
Why don't we line that up for July, Bob?
All right, I'll look at that, because usually I wait for the invoice from them, and so, but I think I'll contact them tomorrow and try to get that from them.
Yeah, we might just well get it paid.
Sure.
Any
You
other
could, you
questions?
could, you could split it in two pieces and say you want to pay X amount of dollars now. And then when you get the final report that tells you how much they want, then you pay that in a second installment.
I thought
We
got
sort of
the
have the report. We've got.
Yeah,
Yeah, they said the invoice was coming. It
Okay,
didn't
but I
come
mean,
with the report.
but we did get the final report, right?
Yeah,
So I just need to get a copy of that if you don't mind.
The invoice isn't in it though.
Oh,
That the final report has our payment for next year.
49 something.
Yeah, 49,062. So that's down considerably.
Yep.
Which is in some ways good news and in some ways not. But I've said it before, I'll say it again. We got to give Barney Kalame a lot of credit for the work, for the job that he did in this and get us to the point where we are on this thing. So kudos to Barney on that. Anything else for Mr. Pasikoff while we have him?
Jim, do you have a handle on what it looks like for our surplus going into next year based on what we've been doing in 2020 and 2021?
That really fluctuates year to year.
That much though?
Well, it's really hard to, I just have no clue what you're going to do this year. We can go through the numbers that we have, but we're still taking guesses on it. If
Okay.
I look
It's
right
not
now,
necessary now, but at some point in time, we got to get a stable number that we can use because we're going to need that number.
I think by the time we have your July meeting, we'll have a better handle on it because we use the July numbers. I'm sorry, the June numbers to do to guesstimate what the expenses are going to be for the year for the budget for next year.
And the math is easy. It's just times 2.
Yes.
I like easy math.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for Jim?
Have you decided on when you want to start working on the budget?
Well, in my mind, that's like an August event. Well, I think in July we'll line up some meetings,
Okay.
extra meetings for August. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right, make myself a note, August. Budget meetings. If I don't write it down, it didn't happen. Okay, anything else for Jim? All right, Jim, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Night, everybody.
All right.
Good night,
Good.
guys.
Kevin,
Yes.
I don't think there's anybody at well, who's at the firehouse, Bob?
There's Don, Kevin, there's Ed Olson and myself.
All right, you got a full crew then. Let's do the facilities committee update, and then then we'll move to the reports.
Okay.
Well, all right. So nothing's come in from Mike. I'm sure they're still working on that. What I did do is I sent Adrian Downs an email. Instead of us picking a day and saying it's okay to go out to see Falls Village, I sent her an email asking what would be good for her and her company. The first response we got back was she was on medical leave. And then right away, I got something back saying they would love from her to show off their facility. So she picked out, there's some evenings we can go, or we can go on a Saturday morning. She would not be there, the chief would not be there, but the A chief would be there on a Saturday morning. So I'm still thinking we pick a Saturday amongst us and go out there and visit their facility. Now I sent that to everybody too, so everybody should have that.
Mike McCormick needs to have that too. We want him there, yes?
McCormick's got it too.
Okay.
I copied him in. So they're saying any Saturday's okay. They're saying what is it here? There was 2 days during the week that isn't good for them. Let me get to it. Let's see, hang on. Evenings besides Mondays and Thursdays are okay. So we could do a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, which I'm sure we don't want to do a Friday. So a Tuesday or Wednesday evening or a Saturday to take a ride out and see it. So I have not heard back from McCormick, Mike or Keith from their firm. So I guess give it a couple more days. I'll send something back out and we'll get that together. And hopefully, how long do you think it's going to take Mike and Keith to put something together to get back to us? I think that's going to take a little while. I mean, they have our list of the needs and wish list.
Well, was that a plan that they were gonna do that before we go look at Falls Village, or did they want to get an idea of what Falls Village looked like before they come up with something? I don't know.
I would think they would be moving forward with their plans, and then go look at Falls Village, and they can revamp things if they had to. But they, like they said when we met with them, Keith has done this a number of times. So I would think I'll reach out to him.
All right, let us know.
Absolutely.
All right, anything else, Kevin?
No, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, considering where we were 3 months ago or 3 years ago, I think we're making steps here.
Yep, steady progress.
Right.
All right, good enough. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Estes, what do you have for us?
I have 7 calls, fire calls for last month, 40 for the year. We've already had 8 this month. So we're on track of our average of 100 fire calls a year. Fire had, of course, a perfect response. The drill is on 6/22. It is our hazmat module required for all members to have hazmat. And so we have the hazmat module, then we're going to go over the fiscal applications from our hazmat trailer, and we're actually going to do a water spill using the containment devices that we have. For those of you concerned, I'm not going to pour kerosene in Walker's Creek, but what I'm going to do is get some apples and use them to indicate the spill that we need to contain. And what apples get away from us become deer food. So all good with that. We have a firefighter enrolled in the firefighter 1 class. Classes are starting to open up again. And we had one the other day that came to me on Monday afternoon. I posted it, had 2 members come up with an interest to take this building construction class, and went online after the company meeting, and it was filled up. So they're not supposed to be doing that. They're supposed to be reserving spots. I'll have to talk to Alfonso about that. But so classes are opening back up. EVOC class is on June 23rd at 18:30 at the station. And we have 3 or 4 members that'll be taking that. As far as the response criteria, and most of the members are doing very well with it as far as making their modules and their required drills. In fact, I believe essentially all active members have already made their required drills for the year, and we're progressing with the modules. And Steve knows this, stated it again in the meeting in public record. The low SAP sheets are posted each month, and the members are to keep track of it. Say your words, Steve, no surprises.
I reemphasized that at the latest company meeting.
Yep.
So let's a little bit more clarification. After about a week or 2, we're not going to be accepting any points that appear a month or 2 or 6 months later.
I think we proved that last year.
Not my circus, not my monkey. So if it's up to the commissioners, if somebody says they have a challenge, I will process a challenge as part of that. It's up to the commissioners to accept the challenge or not.
But Don, you have to, somebody from the company has to sign for those points. So the person
Yes.
that signs that document, that's the person that's saying those points are valid.
Yes, as I did last year. And I don't care if that individual gets somebody's low SAP points, it's none of my business. But I will sign off if they prove that they actually did something that was not indicated. Whether that's accepted by the board, it's not up to me, or I really don't have a lot of concern, but on that, I will sign off if somebody says I was on this call or whatever, and it's proven they were, I would sign off on that.
Again, a week or 2 later, certainly, no problem. A month, 2, 3 months, not good.
No, and I'm fine. Villers Bridge is going to be closed on 7/5. We have, I believe this was stated last commissioners meeting. We have a contingency plan well put in place. North Quaker Lane is now closed by Forest Road. The effect therein on us is increase in traffic that we will see on Center, Clinton Hollow, and Hollow Road. So that is basically a response, is not a hindrance per se for that, but we will get increased traffic within our district because of the North Quaker Lane closure. And that is all I have.
Hey, Steve, can we go back to the facilities committee for a second?
Sure, Kevin, for you.
Well, Russ, do you have anything?
No,
Okay, there we go.
Is that it?
That was it.
All right, that was easy. And that extra traffic that Don was referring to is going to bring us through one of our most popular intersections in terms of MVAs. So it might
Big
have.
time.
impact.
Right there.
Kevin, what do you got?
Only thing I have is the ambulance is due for oil change, and I'm just trying to hold off till we get the new one. And I said to Junior about it, and he said, "Is your new ambulance gonna need an oil change?" I says, "I won't know until we get it."
I thought they said they were gonna do the service.
They did say they were going to do the service.
So that's the only thing I really have is I'm waiting for our new ambulance to come, and then I'll get the old ambulance serviced.
Yep, and then the ambulance might be delayed a little bit. Tom Casey at Sharon stated that they had an issue with the paint job or something, so I'm not sure exactly what that means. It might go into July now. Okay, EMS, what do you have?
EMS, we had 16 calls for the month, 75 calls for the year. We're holding an EMS drill on June 29th. That's pretty much it. We do have 2 members that need CPR. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to try to get with them, if not this weekend, next weekend. Well, that's pretty much it for EMS. We're waiting for a new ambulance.
All right, does anybody have any questions for any of the persons who haven't given the reports?
Oh, could you switch that back to me just a second? I have one more comment that is in, they can't see me. You gotta do that. There you go. That's in relation to the rehab vehicle that's going on. I'm working with the rehab team to ensure that we don't have a problem here with a lack of a rehab vehicle. So we're doing a few desperate stopgap measures to ensure that, for example, the mister is transported. And so we can't let the rehab decon go completely. We can't let it go at all ever. But we're working on some stopgap measures in lieu of the probability of the current vehicle going away. So we'll make sure that we are compliant in what we need to do in the safety for our firefighters.
Also on the EMS drill, we're doing something with the EMS with rehab, right?
Yes, you are definitely doing rehab. We're definitely rehab. We're going to be using the mister. We're not going to be doing decon, but we will be doing rehab.
Good.
Critical, important, especially in hot weather. Critical. That's it. Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Any other questions for Don or Bob or Kevin? Good deal. All right, moving right along. I have a letter from the town of Clinton. Planning Board. Dear Sir, Madam, regarding secret review, Leedon and Rosenthal special permit and soil erosion plan, the town of Clinton Planning Board declared their intent to be the lead agency for this unlisted action and uncoordinated review for the above referenced application on Tuesday, April 20th. Your agency was listed as an interested agency. Enclosed are the site plan and special permit application, short form EAF, and site plan again. The planning board requests a response from your office as soon as possible. This is as soon as possible. Please check all the boxes below that apply and return this letter to the address below within 15 days. We missed that. First choice, we consent to the town of Clinton Planning Board serving as lead agency on this application. Second choice, we do not consent to the town of Clinton Planning Board serving as lead agency on this application and wish to contest lead agency determination under the procedures found in some New York State Code 617.6. Third choice, our agency's jurisdiction on this application is as follows: interested, fill in the blank. Or fourth point, potential issues of concern are as follows. Fourth choice, please provide any additional comments on the reverse side of this letter or attach them to this letter. If you have any questions, please then direct them to Arlene Campbell at the PBZBA. So I think generally speaking, in this situation, we would consent to the town of Clinton Planning Board serving as lead agency. Is there any reason that anybody could list that we would not proceed on that path?
Oh, I think it'd be wise to check that box. The only concern I would have is, if I remember looking at the drawing before I presented it to you, is the radius that might be in that driveway would be something we would write down as a concern so that it would be accessible for fire truck to get up there, you know?
And is that a concern under secra, Rod, or is that just a concern that we might have?
That's a concern that you might have. It's not a secret concern. That would be something to be addressed at the public hearing on the project.
Okay,
Russ, can you go?
I have no idea. I don't know when the public hearing is gonna be.
yeah, I don't either. All right, so I make a motion that I be authorized to check the box that we consent to the town of Clinton Planning Board serving as lead agency and forwarding this back to the town. I covered a second.
Second it.
Any discussion? Russ, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Bob Trzynski,
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries. I will make sure that they get their letter back. Does anybody want the package? It's about that thick.
Does Don
Russ
want
wants
to
to
take a
make a
look at that?
copy.
What's that?
Russ wants to make a copy.
All right, you can have it.
Hey, Steve, does Don want to take a quick look at that driveway? That might be worthwhile.
He could do. I can save the site plan back and we can take a look and determine if we want to go to that public hearing or not.
Yeah, it might save some grief downstream.
Okay. All right. Secret return. All right, what else do we have? LoSAP. Bob, there was some new legislation. You just want to touch on that so people know what's going on, then we can review this annual report.
One was that, let's see, I'm not sure it got signed or not. It increased the years that you can collect to 50. Rod, did that get passed?
Not yet.
Not yet. And the other one that I think did get passed, there's a list of company activities that a district can opt to give points for. And I sent the email out on it. And that did get passed.
But again,
Yes, but that doesn't apply to East Clinton. That applies to districts that have more than one company or more than one squad. So for example, East Fishkill's got 6 different firehouses. If there's a grass fire in Station 1, Stations 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 don't get dispatched for. So then only the members from Station 1 would get the credit, and the call number would not be included in the other companies' account numbers. Essentially,
Okay.
they're going to have 6 different LoSAP calculations, one for each company.
Okay. Well, wasn't there a blurb about internal company activities that they increased the ability to give points for?
Yes, if you, for example, if company in East Fishkill, if company 1's fire police got dispatched to help with traffic control, but the fire company or the rescue squad did not, you could give separate points for the fire police only being dispatched.
Oh boy, I'm glad we don't have to keep track of that. Okay. Thanks, Rod.
all right, and then we got our service awards program executive summary. And I think everybody got a copy of this, if I'm not mistaken.
All the commissioners did.
All right. Blah, blah, blah. 2022 will be 49,062. We'll need that for budget purposes. Ed, are you still there? Is that a yes, that Ed is there?
Yeah, but he's muted.
All right, well, that's good because the following people need a completed beneficiary designation form. Take notes. Brandon Colley.
Okay.
Heather Fitzsimmons. Brandon Masonette. And Patty Van Leuven. Also to Neil Martin, but I don't know that we were gonna see her, so I won't put that one on you. But if you could chase beneficiary forms on those 4 people. Nathan Sylvius was removed from the eligible list or the participating list.
Steve, you do want me to sign that letter and give it to Karen
And what letter do we have to sign?
on that topic for the gentleman you just mentioned.
Okay, we need to sign that one.
Yeah, I got it in front of me. It's a forfeiture letter. And that came from Penflex for us to
All right, why don't you read
communicate.
that letter? So, and then move that you be empowered to sign it on behalf of the board.
Okay. Dear Nathan, under the provisions of the East Clinton Fire District Service Award Program, a non-vested service award program participant ceases being a program participant as of the last day of the calendar year during which she ceases to be an active member of the Clinton Volunteer Fire Department. An East Clinton Fire District Service Award Program participant becomes 100% vested upon either accruing 5 years of service credit, reaching the entitlement age while an active member, being awarded a total and permanent disability. And that's all they say, being awarded a total and permanent disability, or dying while an active member. Since you ceased being an active member of the Clinton Volunteer Fire Department while a non-vested program participant, your participation in the East Clinton Fire District Service Award Program ceased as of December 31st, 2020. Consequently, your accrued service award and your 1 year of service credit earned up to December 31st, 2020 has been forfeited. However, if you again become an active member of the Clinton Volunteer Fire Department within 5 years and subsequently earn a year of service credit, your forfeited service credit and your service award will be restored.
Okay, and that is that was addressed to Nathan. It's looking for a signature from the board.
The LoSAP administrator of the district, or
Okay,
you can do it as the chair.
no, I move we empower Bob to sign that document. I covered a second.
Second,
All right, Russ, what's your pleasure?
aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
who am I missing? Russ, Kevin, Bob?
Aye,
I vote aye as well. Motion carries. All
I'll
right.
sign it and get it to Karen.
Yeah.
Question from Rod.
Steve, a question should be posed to Penflex as to who is responsible for keeping track of the beneficiary statements. Some LoSAP administrators keep track of the beneficiary statements, some do not. And it's important because let's say Steve, your beneficiary statement is in and it names Beth as your beneficiary. Penflex has it and the district has it. Subsequent to that point in time, you name somebody else as your beneficiary and give it just to the district. So now Penflex has a beneficiary form listing Beth, and the district has a beneficiary form listing your son Nathan, perhaps. Which one controls?
So should Bob make that inquiry of Penflex?
Yes, who is responsible for maintaining the beneficiary statements, Penflex or the district?
Can I get it verbally or do I need it in writing?
I'd get it in writing from him.
Got it. I'll take care of it.
All right, good point. Thanks, Rod. And the only other thing I see in this annual report, as I summarize it, worth mentioning is that we are 105% funded, and that is most excellent. And Ed, I do have some beneficiary designation forms here. I can make you some copies when you need them. Anything else on LoSAP?
Steve, I have the fire district statement, the copies of the letters, everybody's statements to send out.
Okay.
So we can include the beneficiary form in those 5, with those 5 letters if you want.
Yeah, did you get a copy of the beneficiary form or?
I have a copy of it, yeah.
All right, that'd be great. Thank you, Karen.
Yep.
Steve, you had a question on the new LoSAP program at the $700 level. Do you want to defer that dialogue?
Well, I mean, it's a point of conversation, and it's zero impact right now. But when we went to the defined contribution plan, we went to the maximum, which is $700 a year, which we all agreed at that time, or at least it's my understanding, or my memory says we all agreed that we thought 700 was lean. We knew there was a bill pending to increase it to $1,200, which I believe passed.
It did.
So if we were to modify that plan, that would be a referendum that we'd have to float.
Yeah, yes, it would take some time, but so we should, if we're thinking on it, we need to start sooner than later.
Right. The impact as of right now is whether it's 700, 1,200, or $25 million a year is zero, because we have not had any people come in and maintain their membership under the new plan. The real impact right now is zero. Hopefully in time we would have an impact, because that would be meaning we'd be getting new members.
Hopefully new firefighters.
Yep, firefighters and EMTs.
Yes.
So I don't know what people think of that. I don't.
What
think
does Don think about if we did that? Have you had any discussions with him?
I have not.
Would it help him? Would it help him get more firefighters?
Say it wouldn't. You know, it's in the realm of possibility it could assist. So
if you think it will, Don, we'll support you, and we'll proceed on that effort.
So Rod, the steps would be the board would have to resolve to do a referendum, and you would have to do the language for the referendum.
That's correct. And it would be, I would suggest it would be on the ballot in December, unless you want to have a special election.
No, I don't want a special election for this, at least. So we've got a month or two to consider it, defined. But good point, Bob. Contribution, LoSAP, 1,200. You might want to put it on your more than likely pending list, Rod, to get that language out.
So anytime you increase the amount, if you increase it now or anytime you increase it in the future, it would have to go to a vote of the public.
Yes, that's correct.
And the reason now we have it maximum of 700 per year they would get is the reason that they passed it because of inflation and stuff. They're gonna need to be raised.
I don't know why they raised the dollar amount. Originally, the maximum amount was $480. And then probably about 15 years ago, they raised it to 700, and now they've seen fit to raise it to 1,200. I don't know the legislature's thinking in that process.
Well, I mean, I think that since we haven't had anybody that has fallen under this, that maybe we ought to consider just holding off until we see if we get members. And anytime in the future, I guess you could do it. You could do it now or 2 years from now.
Or you, and it doesn't need to be 1,200. It could be somewhere between 7 and 12. It could be 900 if you want.
Well, or could we authorize up to 1,200, and then it would be the board decisions to what we put in?
Ooh.
No, you want, the board resolution has to be passed first and then the vote second. So the board needs to resolve how much you want to raise it to, and then the public votes on it.
Okay.
So what do the people in the old LoSAP system get a year? They get $25 a month, right?
No, it's $20 per month.
Per year.
For each year that they get their 50 points. And that grows each year.
So for 1 year, they would get
20 per month, 20. And then the second year would be 40, third year, 60.
So
Yeah,
if you've got 10 years in, Russ, you got $200 a month.
But what's this $700? How soon do they get that?
That's it.
Under the new plan, do they have to have so many years before they get 700?
They need to have 5. They need to have 5 years in to be vested. And once you're vested in our new program, you get $700 a year credited to your account For each year, you get 50 points.
So
And
that's
then
not,
when you reach retirement age, you get a lump sum payment of whatever's been accumulated in your account.
so they get credited 700, but the amount they get, is it dependent upon some investment where it's money's invested in something and how much it increases?
For the defined contribution programs, we're at $700. The money is invested by the plan administrator, and it's usually in a very safe investment. It's usually invested in an annuity contract or in a bond fund, so that you're not going to lose principal, but you will gain some interest on it, so that you will get principal and interest when you reach the entitlement age.
But would they get automatically at least 700 per year of active time? So if they had
No,
2 years,
they have to get 5 years of participation, and they have to have 5 years with 50 points. And you only get the $700 in your account if you make the 50 points per year.
okay, so say they had 5 years that they had the points each time, how much money would they get for 5 years? It wouldn't be 5 times 700, 3,500 a year. Would it?
They would get a lump sum of $3,500. It's not $3,500 a year. It's a lump sum of $3,500 plus whatever interest has grown on that money.
Okay, so they get a lump sum, the other people get it as long as they live.
Right. That's correct.
I thought it was 43 years, Rod.
It's 40 years.
40 years.
40 years.
So one, Russ, in some aspects resembles a pension, and the other in some aspects resembles a 401k kind of plan,
Right. Deferred compensation.
deferred comp, yeah.
We control our expenses on the new plan, tighter, if you will.
All right, any other questions on LoSAP? All right, I have not heard back, more than likely because they're just reading the letters to the board. Anything from, in regards to the letters I sent out for, to the mutual aid companies. July is around the corner. Even before I got your note, Rod, that said that it would seem doubtful that New York State is going to extend their modification to the open meeting laws to allow this kind of format. It was on my list of to talk about how we wanted to do July, but if it's not extended, we don't have a choice. We can only do it at the firehouse. I think one thing we have to consider is if we want to continue to broadcast it in a Zoom format, and I think that would still be allowed to allow people to attend remotely. Is that correct, Rod?
Yeah, but nothing prevents you from doing that.
Okay. And if we decide that, my observation from when we did a workshop and tried to allow people to listen in is we were rather ineffective at that because we were spread throughout the whole room trying to maintain some kind of distancing. What kind of format would we want to have to allow people to listen in remotely, I guess is the question. And what can we do, Bob, to increase the technology, Bob Simon, to put better wheels on that? Unmute.
He's a techno guy and he can't unmute. Oh, yeah.
No, we can set up a tripod and maybe put it on the tripod, but the town hall gets a camera. I don't think we need to go to that detail. We could probably do something with an iPad or something, put it on a tripod, but then somebody would have to move it around.
Bob, I worked on the video system early on that existed in the town. We can do a wide angle lens. We don't need to see people individually. And as long as we got good audio and we have a proper angle, and we don't need to see the other than the people that are on the board. And of course the chief. So we could get
microphones. What could we do for a couple of microphones so that people could hear?
Right, couldn't you do like a drop microphone?
Yeah,
From,
I have boundary mics that we can utilize.
What do they hook into?
You could do a Bluetooth connection into something like an iPad or a ThinkPad. We
Alright,
can
so-
talk about it later, and then
Oh,
Yes.
so the question is, if we empower Bob and Bob to work on this, do you need a budget, or do you think, or do you think not?
not right now. We'll see what the bits and pieces we can get together. But I have a question for Rod, because Steve is thinking in one way. If the open meeting laws go back to normal, we cannot prevent somebody from coming in to our regular meeting, even if we transmit it. So Steve, this would be a good adjunct, but we still have to worry about, not that it has happened, filling up the small room. And because I get nervous about that one. We can't prevent people from coming in.
And that's correct. Now, so, I'm not advocating this. We could, I assume, require people to have masks when they come in. I read an article today that, and I know you're all gonna find this amazing, that 99% of the people that are currently hospitalized or otherwise under the care of a physician for COVID-19 did not get vaccinated. It's an amazing fact, but it does say that the vaccinations are effective. No, you're right, Bob, but I think if we offer the service, that people might feel the same way that you do, and if it's available to view from home, they might take us up on that, and that would cut down on the crowding.
Now, we don't know amongst ourselves, though it's not a HIPAA violation to ask. And Rod, you can back me up on that one. Who's vaccinated in our group? Can we use the area where the trucks are to have our meeting for a short time? Because there's no airflow in our small room, mask or not. And airflow is critical, even more than masks.
I don't know if this is appropriate, but I think if you put a sign on the door, like as in most places that I go now, that fully vaccinated people do not have to wear face masks, you're putting the responsibility on people that hopefully aren't vaccinated to wear a face mask. And I don't think you're going to have that amount of people coming to our meetings unless you have something controversial on, that you couldn't just open up the meetings and not worry about broadcasting it for people to watch at home. Just my opinion.
But I think, Rod, correct me if I'm wrong, the only requirements are that excuse me, the meeting has to be in the district, and
Has
we
to
would
be
have
in-
to give ample notice of where it is to be held.
That's correct.
So you're suggesting maybe we start asking the town to see if we could have our meeting in the town hall?
That's
Because
an
that'll
option,
work.
is it not?
That would work. It's a big room,
And then,
much
and
better
then
airflow.
do you want to pursue that, Bob? I mean, does
Yeah,
anybody have
I'll be-
objection? to
I'll
doing
begin
that?
asking the question for the town hall, and somebody should ask the question for maybe one of the other areas. You've got the historical society, but that's not very big, and there's no airflow in that. But the church, where we're voting, maybe somebody could ask about that as a backup.
The church in Schultzville is a possibility. Now, Rod, neither you nor Jim Pasikoff nor any of the chiefs would have to attend in person, right? You could attend remotely.
We could still attend remotely. That's correct.
Okay.
I like your big meeting hall in your church. That one is really good.
You want me to ask on that? I'll ask on that.
Yeah, I'll ask the town hall, you ask that, and then we'll bandy about some emails and see what makes sense.
Anybody have a
Sure.
calendar in front of them? What's the date in August?
August 11th.
July 14th, August
July
11th. right?
14th, August 11th.
All right, I'll ask 2 months in advance, and Bob, you'll ask the other people, and then we'll get the information to Karen in ample time. Does anybody have any objection to this? Russ or Kevin, you okay with this concept?
I like it. Steve,
Okay,
The chief has something to ask.
I'm kind of confused because I got the email you probably all got today from the town supervisor stating that everything was wide open. And I asked him to the point of, okay, Ray, advise and counsel, can we go forward as far as your interpretation of New York State regulations with, let's say, the lobster dinner? Responded back and said, absolutely can. So
Can't? Cannot?
and so therefore, I don't understand. It's opened up. What the problem is, I don't understand.
just
One of the reasons why you want a new firehouse is that meeting room is totally inadequate. There is no airflow. And if we pack people in there, and some of them, some people, whether they be civilians or members or commissioners, whatever, with no airflow, it puts some people in hazard.
Okay, I mean,
look at it this way, Don, it makes us.
let's say you're doing this out of due diligence, God bless you, but not by law.
No, not by law.
Fine.
Now, speaking of the lobster dinner, does anybody have an objection to the company holding the lobster dinner in the facility? And Rod, does the district have any liability exposure if we allow such an activity in this current environment?
Not that the governor has opened up the, or lifted the restrictions. No, there's no liability to have the event.
All right, does anybody have an objection to if we get to 70% as a state and Cuomo opens it up, anybody have any objections to the company having the lobster dinner as planned at the end of September?
let's do it.
All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, I will pursue that. And we'll get back to people. Karen, you'll have plenty of time to put the notice out. Now, Rod, you and I had brief discussion, and I want to keep this void of names, people. Okay, but and if we have to go to executive session, we will. If we have to start using names and get more specific, we will. The company had a situation where a social and or life member lost control, had his hair catch on fire 3 times in meetings that were specifically subsidiary meetings and company business only. And the company made the decision to discipline this individual. Rod, you and I talked and you indicated that the district doesn't really have a dog in this fight. Is that correct?
The only thing that I would say that the district should have would be some documentation from the company about what the company did.
All right.
And that should go into the individual's file.
All right. Can you provide that, Ed?
Yes, I can.
All right. If you would be so kind, I would appreciate that. The second, and what comes out of this is currently the district only requires active responding members to have hostile workplace and sexual harassment training. Rod, is it out of bounds for the district to require life, social, and any other participating member of the department to have said training?
Inasmuch as the district allows the company to utilize the district's buildings, the district is well within its bounds to require any member of a company, regardless of category, to take the required sexual harassment and hostile workplace training.
All right. So I would therefore move that the district, in light of events of the last several months, require any participating in active social or life member or probationary member as soon as reasonably possible to partake of hostile workplace and sexual harassment training. I think that's it. Anything I forgot, Rod?
No, but I would make it even broader. Any individual who was on the company membership rolls is required to take the training.
So what about life members that are kind of
Tired.
retired life members that are kind of in and may feel like they get up to, and I'm using this, you know, may feel like they want to show up to a meeting once every 5 years.
But they're on the rolls, Steve. They're
Okay,
known to the company.
I'm just wondering how we word that so we maintain the dignity of the retired life members and aren't really throwing them out on their ears.
None of this throws them away. It's just do this. Come and
Right.
come and enjoy.
But I think the key is if they're going to participate, they have to have this. If they're not going to participate, we don't really care. Or I don't care.
Well, if you know, they don't participate, so they show up once in 5 years, but at the one time they show up, they go ballistic. That's the exposure the district has.
But isn't that true for civilians that are invited in by the company also?
Yeah, but they're not company members. They're the guests. You know, you can't have the entire town be forced to take the program.
No, but somebody, some agency, either the board or the company officers have to take responsibility for the controls of the people that they're bringing in. That's where I'm getting at.
Well, how do you expect the town to have that require everyone that walks into town hall?
I don't. I'm not proposing it. I'm saying who's the responsible authority? The board isn't present when the company invites people in, whether for whatever reason. I do not understand if people that are life members that come once in a blue moon, or people that are invited in for whatever reason by the company. It's really, I almost am thinking that the board shouldn't even get involved with it. It's the company's problem. It
is the board's problem. The board is the employer. The board is the employer in this situation.
But not for a non-active. I agree with you for active members, but for non-active members, I'm not sure I understand. On the employee part.
Well, how do you decide the difference between the guy that shows up once every 5 years and the guy that shows up twice every 5 years?
But they're still not active. They're not.
Okay, so they're not active, but they're showing up every month.
But they're not employees of the district.
So you're proposing only active firefighters?
Active firefighters, that's of the interest of the board. Non-active firefighters is of the interest of the company, and you put the responsibility on the company officers.
Well, if the person is a life member, they're not active, but they're still a life member, I don't see a problem with saying, if you want to participate in activities or attend things, you must take this training. You know, but somebody that's invited, if they come in and act up, then it's, at that time, you'd have to tell a person you have to leave and you're not allowed to come back because they're not a member.
And
But
something like that happened fairly recently, and Rod and Steve corrected me that it wasn't of interest of the board. And I see the same thing, where non-active members really are the interest of the company and the responsibility of the company, because the company can say, no, you can't come in, or no, you have to leave. But it's not the board, not the five of us. We're not there.
Yeah, but I think the buck stops with the commissioners. You know,
On active members, non-active members, I'm not so sure.
Kevin? Fiero, what do you got?
Well, I'm kind of leaning towards Bob. I mean, if how can we control non-active members?
Well,
I-
I mean, there's a
Yes,
difference in
I think that's why we have a lawyer.
active responding members and active department members who are no longer active responding members. And I think my perspective would be that if we don't have a requirement of this training, there's almost an inference that you know, I mean, how would a lawyer perceive this if somebody got out of control and did personal damage and we didn't? What would we be opening ourselves up to a lawsuit?
Well, Steve, in my environment where I work, we take these classes every year. It's so I would think every member definitely should be taking these classes. Not that I really, I don't like it, but I think that every member should be taking these classes. But like Bob's saying, if someone's coming in that hasn't been a member for 5-6 years, that's not really, how are we going to control that?
If they want to come and participate in things, that's the thing that they're going to have to do if they want to come and participate. I don't know. That's what I think Rod was saying, you know.
Well, I'm looking at the law right now, and the law requires you to provide the training. It doesn't require every member to participate in it. So if you've got a guy that, you know, shows up once every 5 years, okay, you provided the training, he's had the opportunity to come take it. The fact that he hasn't taken it, the board is still protected because you provided the training. You provided the opportunity for the training.
Okay, I like that.
That's interesting.
So
So you deal on a case-by-case basis based upon the actions of the person, whether you tell them, hey, you got to leave because, you know, this is not acceptable.
The board's not going to tell them to leave. The company officers are, or the chief, who's a district officer.
well, the chief, if we don't have a policy that social or retired life members have this training as mandated, I don't think it's a district situation at that point. If that kind of member loses control, I think it's the responsibility of the department and the department executive board. If we don't pass this kind of thing, I would think that maybe the department would want to pass it. So when this happens again, not if, when, we've seen it a number of times, they have something to back themselves up when they take disciplinary action.
I just got here, but I'm sort of listening. I think anyone that's on our property should take the training. Anyone that's interacting with other people of the company, of the department, should be taking the training.
All right, Karen, I don't think we got a second for my motion. Can you read my motion?
No, I seconded it.
Oh, you did? Okay,
I
okay.
believe I did.
Well,
Okay, so the motion is that the district require any participating and active social or life member or probationary member to partake of the hostile workplace and sexual harassment training. I didn't have a second on it. I might not have heard it.
all right, well, Bob says he seconded it. We'll have to.
I think I did, yeah.
We'll just-
All right, is
In my
there
mind,
any
anyway.
further discussion?
Yeah, yes. There is another classification of persons, people that are not social members of the company, that regularly assist or attend functions or activities at the fire department. If we have them, is there any thoughts on that?
Who would that be?
Yeah. Who would
It would
it
be
be?
Any person that is not a social member that just comes and gives a hand.
Well, people-
Yes,
Guest, okay.
He sends someone who comes help out.
The guest.
So
They're saying.
we have one person that I think I saw sign in that has on occasion helped out. I think we only have control over what we have control over, and we have control over active members, and we have control over certain departmental activities because we're the kind of benevolent landlord. After that, I think the best we can do, like Russ said, is just ask that person to leave.
Okay, again, if I understand and I don't disagree with what you just said, Steve, the company needs to know it's their responsibility for all others that are not encompassed in your resolution.
All right.
So if they have invitees and there's a problem, it's on them. They've got to do whatever they
All right, before we vote, Ed, you got any input here?
Sounds like it's a good plan for the, everyone to take it. I think everybody should take it.
No picture, no battery.
No battery, no picture. Nothing's there.
And what,
There we go. You're back.
what is the penalty if the person doesn't take it? Then what do we do?
I'm sorry?
So we have somebody who falls into this broad category who doesn't take it, then how do we act then? What do we do? Do we say, okay, because you didn't take it, you now cannot come to any activities at the firehouse? I mean,
Right.
you need to have the, if you don't, this is what you can't do.
Well, in the case of the person
You're
that
talking
was,
about a non-member, correct?
No, these are associate people that either were active members or life members of the company. That's what we're
have to
talking
pay.
about.
They have to take it.
Yeah, I'm saying if they don't, what's your
They
policy?
can't help. They can't help. They can't do anything.
And they can't come to any functions and meetings, or apparently.
Correct.
Right.
So I just wanted to make that clear. They had to be
Yes.
told if you don't take this, you will no longer be able to be active in any functions with the fire department.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
all right, anybody else have anything that we haven't heard already?
I want to see what Rod says about what we're talking about. Does it sound good, Rod?
Yes, it sounds fine. You're going beyond what the law requires, and that's okay. The one comment I would have would be, what if somebody comes to the board or the company now and says, I took the workplace harassment training at work. Does that qualify? Are you going
Prove
to
it.
accept that?
Do you have a certificate to prove that?
Well, yeah, are you going to accept it?
If you have a certificate, I will accept it.
All right,
The board would have to just, Ed, the board has to accept it, not you.
Or we could authorize the department to accept it.
You're going down a rabbit hole on that. We need documentation on that, Steve.
What's
Well-
your
Well,
counsel, Rod?
Steve and Bob, just like myself, I mean, I take this class every year at the correctional facility. I mean, I can present a certificate or I can take it at the firehouse. It doesn't matter to me. But I've been taking that class for 25 years.
And look at you. It hasn't helped a bit.
No, it has not.
Rod, what documentation do we have to have in hand at the board level if we've got a resolution at the board level?
well, like Ed said, a certificate from an employer that he's taken it.
And that has to be in Karen's hands, because she is the board. She's the record keeper of the board.
Yeah, correct.
Now, boys, one other aspect here, is it time to look in the mirror and mandate that commissioners take this training?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
All right, we'll make that a separate motion.
Mike's
All right. That being said,
Look at Russ.
Bob Jasinski, what's your pleasure?
That's just gonna be trouble.
Oh.
Bob Jasinski, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Russ,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. That motion carries. Ed, please communicate that at the next company meeting.
Thank you, I will.
All right, now, I also move that commissioners be required to annually partake of workplace violence and sexual harassment training. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Think you ought to take it twice a year.
Kevin, what's your plan?
Took mine.
Well, yeah, I already take it, so yes.
Bob,
Aye.
Russ,
Reluctantly, aye.
Mike,
Hi.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries.
So another example of our legislative geniuses up in Albany, the sexual harassment and the workplace violence training programs, which you're required to provide to your employees, are not required to be provided to New York State public school teachers.
Perfect,
Go figure.
perfect.
That sounds like a union situation.
All right. Let me see. I did sit through on that rainy Saturday a couple weeks ago, 6 long hours of the commissioner training that I was required to take. And one point that I did pick up on was that I guess we're required to have our code of ethics posted. Is that correct, Rod?
Posted? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's required to be posted. And I'm not really, you're required to have a code of ethics, but you don't need to have a board.
Well, they seem to indicate in this class that it should be posted.
Yeah, that could be. I won't say no.
All right. Karen, can you post that, please?
Yeah,
Nice job, Steve.
All right, and the
Hey,
copier,
Steve, before you go, we need to kick the dead horse again. In our policy, we're supposed to have a workplace violence, sexual harassment board, if you will. We have never appointed anybody. So in other words, if we have a problem and a write-up, who gets it? We have not addressed that. We don't have to fix it immediately, but reread our policy.
I suggest Russ gets it.
It's the board of directors of the company.
Rod,
No, it's not.
In your tenure, looked at those policies?
Yeah, I looked at it this afternoon, and there is a board that Bob refers to in the policy.
Threat assessment team
The threat assessment team.
has been completed, it says here.
Well, it also says the threat assessment team will be the chief, assistant chiefs, and each commissioner. So to that extent, you have appointed the board, the panel.
Okay, but if a document has to be presented, how does it get in to the board level? Does it come through the chief?
Well-
Are you talking about an active member? Or are you talking about a non-active member?
Active, well, now it's any active or inactive member would be involved.
An active member.
Because we've done a board resolution. It's not a company document anymore. It's a board document.
The incident has to be reported to the incident, or copies reported to the team, as well as one filed with the chief. So the chief gets 2, everybody else gets 1.
That's an
Okay,
active member.
active or inactive at this point?
Well, the
All
point-
incidents.
The point we started this at, they were not
All
active
incidents.
members.
Well, the policy says all, so you're gonna make sure we're notified, Ed, right, via Karen. And
Yeah,
then
that,
she can make a copy of that and email it to each of us.
You want a copy of the complaint? You want a copy of what the board of directors decided?
yes, both.
Okay,
Yeah, but there's an actual form, I think, in this that has to be filled out, if I remember right.
Yeah, there is a form in the policy. Incident report form in the policy.
On what I printed out, it starts, I believe, on the 3rd page. No,
Ed, do you have your copy of the district policies? Because it's in
not
there.
with me. Not with me.
Okay, what
Have
about the
one, but
chief?
not with me.
What about the chief?
Yeah, I keep it in my back pocket. It's on my desk.
Well, that it would be helpful if you could take a look at it, because that's what this was all about.
All right, I'll go see if I can find it.
Not right now.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, you don't have to do it now.
All
No,
right.
not going on. This is not going on all night.
No, it might. Okay.
Hold on.
Well, Steve, you see where I'm coming from. If
I'm
if
not
it's
arguing
if it
with-
happened and it's reported, it's got to be in writing, and the
Okay,
board
and
has
it's-
to know. If
and
the
it's in
board
writing,
doesn't
we're gonna
know,
get
it
copies.
didn't happen.
But at this
It is in
particular
writing, and
juncture-
You're gonna get copies.
When this happened, it was not an active member.
Right, but
So
we
it
have
was not,
responsibility. You're gonna give us copies, Ed, and we're gonna move on, because I don't want to
Okay.
be here all night.
okay,
Give us
Well,
copies
This is
of
pretty,
the complaint, give us copies of the executive board action. Through Karen, she will let us know, and we're gonna move on.
okay.
Copier, we have a copier that I think needs, as district property needs to be declared surplus. It has officially given up the ghost. So I would move that we declare the large copier that formerly resided in the chief's office as surplus, and that it should be disposed of, as in thrown away, not saved. Do I have a second?
Second,
Any discussion? Bob, what's your pleasure?
aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Russ,
aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. That motion carries. Now, Donald, you informed me on June 22nd, there was a meeting with the Mylan, Stanford, and who else?
Milan, Stanford, Pine Plains, and East Clinton was, for the sake of the board here, I will reiterate to what I had already told Steve. It's next Tuesday night. I got a call, I got a call from the Stanford chief yesterday requesting my presence in a meeting with the aforementioned fire districts with concern of their EMS response. And the individual requesting the meeting said, we are having trouble with response. And so what we're thinking about doing is having a fly car positioned in the quadrant aforementioned. And I said, well, you can count East Clinton out. First of all, because we respond. And second of all, a fly car is not going to do any good when you can't get your ambulance off the floor anyway. So I've explained that to Steve. Steve is going to go in my stead because there is the hazmat drill, which I'll be running that night. Steve's going to go up and basically listen to what they have to say about joining up and having a paid EMS service shared between Pine Plains, East Clinton, Stanford, and Milan. Very poorly suggested towards me and towards the East Clinton Fire District, considering we're the ones that are covering some of these other districts a lot anyway. Main point is not a bad idea for them, but the fly car is an absolute ludicrous thought. If they wanted to do it as a BLS unit, then that would make sense. A fly car makes no sense at all because they still can't transport. So if they got a fly car, low battery, Bob, low battery, close. If they got a fly car, we'd still be going and transporting for them anyway.
So this meeting is 1900 hours at
Stanford.
Stanford Firehouse?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I was gonna go just to listen and gather information.
I don't think your letter fell on deaf ears, Steve.
Well, that's good, but to
I
your
think
point,
that's what you're asking.
if you said it this morning when we discussed it, or whenever we discussed it, I didn't hear that it was only for a fly car, because that, as you said, makes zero sense when they send a fly car to the two districts to which we sent those letters. Lots of times they're not getting off the floor and that's what they would need to do anyway. So it's almost nonsensical.
It is nonsensical, and I explained that to him. And the other part is that we're not going to buy and charge our district for a resource that we rarely need, thank God.
Right. All right. So unless anybody has any objections, I plan to go to that meeting for information's sake. Okay, let me see. The drum roll, please. How many bids, Karen, do we have for the rehab vehicle?
One.
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 All we need.
Okay. Open it up.
What's the magic word, Froggy?
It's just going to give us cookies for it.
So to the East Clinton Fire District, we are willing to pay for the food truck, $13,000 if the generator is fixed, $11,000 if not. Thank you for your consideration. Rosit Atad. Is this from Simternet? Yeah.
Parenthetically, Don and I showed this vehicle. He lives in northern New Jersey and he plans to make a mobile ethnic food truck using primary ingredient of lamb intestines.
What was the minimum bid? I thought it was 15.
Minimum bid was 15, so we got to deal with this. So we have no bids that have met the minimum. Rod, are we allowed to decrease that minimum and honor this bid?
Well, if you honor the bid below the lowest bid, you almost have to re-advertise it because somebody may not have submitted a bid because they thought the lowest bid had to be at least 15.
Yeah, the other people held back and you're shafting them.
All right.
And is the generator functioning?
The generator functions very well for about 35 or 40 minutes.
Is it still doing that? Has it been tested recently? Is it still doing it? Has it been tested recently?
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. It's on 13 the way it is. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. Steve?
It's called-
The last I heard, it still does it. I'm sorry.
Well,
And that's with the reducing the oil level that we talked about. Has it been reduced further?
It has not been reduced further. It's at the
Okay,
low
so
end of
we're
the-
back where we were about maybe 8, 9 months, longer than that. The tests that need to get done haven't been done yet. Pull the oil out so it just kisses the end because the length of that oil dipstick is incorrect.
Okay.
You're not, and I can do it now that I know how to start it.
Well, so if we have to repost the listing, I would move that we move that we repost it for a minimum of $10,000.
11. That was his low end.
Okay.
He'll buy it at 11 with the broken generator.
All right. So I will move that we repost it for a minimum of $11,000 and that we open bids at the August meeting.
I'll second.
I mean, not August, July meeting, July meeting.
Steve, that actually works quite well because that solves the problem of, having a stopgap measurement for fireman safety. So there's not a problem with that.
Okay, all right. So I just want to make sure that Bob seconded it, that he did hear it was July meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that too soon? Is that July meeting too soon or August? Open in August.
No, let's go with that.
I think July is good. I think we got.
Okay. I'm
I
good.
think we got to move before the food season disappears.
Okay.
And Rod, tell me again, we would need a certified bank check or cash. Is that what we'll take?
Yes.
Okay. Cash in an envelope.
Well, I don't know if it's a simple thing that Bob said to take more oil out. To see
It's
if
a
that
test.
runs.
It's a
And-
test with the information that I've got. It's a simple thing to do it, and then we've got to run it to see if it affects anything.
I mean, if you want, I'd be willing to go with Bob and see if we can do that, to see if we can get it run more than an hour and say whether it's fixed or not, you know?
That'd be perfect, but that, so if that's, let's vote on this motion, and then he offered 11 if it doesn't work and 13 if it does. Is that what it was?
13
Yeah,
if it does.
13 if the generator is fixed, 11 if it's not.
All right.
But if
I would
Steve,
list a
you're-
higher,
if-
I would
Steve,
list
you're
at
gonna put the
11.
bid out at 11. Then he's just gonna take it for 11.
Yeah, I would put it
Oh,
at
that's-
13,
That's the
12,
minimum.
5, 13. I think 11 is too low. I would say
Right.
12, 5 or 13.
Exactly, because he's if the generator's working, he's willing to give 13. We put the minimum bid at 11, then that's what they're gonna go for.
Mhm.
Well, as we put this out, are you putting it out mentioning the generator, or do you want to hold off until we see it?
I put it right out there that the generator runs like a champ for 35 minutes and then shuts it off.
Well, then I think maybe we ought to see if we can see if that's going to be the problem before you put the bid out again.
Then we have to have a special meeting to get this in a time for July.
Well, we have been dealing with this generator for a long time.
Well, how soon can Bob and Russ get out there to look at this generator? They are both retired.
Russ, when do you want to go?
I don't know, get a hold of me. I mean, whatever morning, tomorrow morning, I've got to go to a
Yeah,
dentist.
I'm busy tomorrow morning, but what about tomorrow afternoon?
I won't be home tomorrow afternoon either. I'm thinking, and I gotta look at the calendar, because as you get old, all you do is go to the doctor's appointments. But I can give you a call. I don't know if I can tell you in a second if I got anything down for Friday morning.
No, I know, I've got a doctor's on Friday morning. But Friday afternoon, I'm good. Because we got to get this put to the commissioners so we can meet.
With the permission of the person who seconded the motion, I would like to modify my motion that we would offer for a minimum bid 11 if the generator is not fixed and 13 if it is.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, Steve.
All right, so we've modified that motion, Karen.
Yep,
You got that?
yep.
All right, any other discussion?
I'd love to do business.
All right, Bob, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Russ?
All right.
And I vote aye as well. That motion carries. I have contact information for this gentleman. I will notify him of the situation. I will repost the ad on Craigslist. And we will proceed accordingly. All right, old business. Have I missed anything? New business, have I missed anything?
Rod sent an email out about the lawn mowing.
Yeah, I'm in contact with the agency. I will get what we need.
Okay, and I have a question for Rod on that. Does that document cover us for liability and workers' comp?
Yes.
Okay, I'm good, Steve.
All right, yeah, I'm on that. Anybody else, old business, new business? Anything from the public out there? We've got some people from the public, Elliot or Tony, or that's all I see. Going once, Tony. Going twice, Elliot.
Yeah, do we have anything on, anything more specific on Falls Village? I guess not yet, do we?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, well, Elliot was going. Let's let Elliot go. And then
Go ahead.
if you can address Elliot.
Elliot, here's what I did, Elliot.
Yeah.
I sent an email out to Andrea Downs. Instead
Yeah, I
of
saw
us
that.
picking a date and saying,
Yeah.
okay, we're good to go,
Yeah,
I figured let's get some dates from them.
right.
So who I haven't heard back from is Mike and Keith.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
I'm gonna I'll contact them within the next day or so and see what they're available for. So Saturday's okay with them out there. We can meet with their A chief. So it might be a Saturday morning, and I know Father's Day weekend's coming up, and then we got July 4th weekend coming up. So we'll see how it goes. But I figured we'd reach out to Andrea first just to make sure it's okay and what's available for them before we say, hey, we're coming out on this date. And they're going to go, yeah, like, no, that's not going to happen.
Right.
So
Right.
we're moving it. It's just a slow.
You said it would be what, either maybe a Tuesday evening or a Thursday evening? Is that what you said?
Right. Because she said Mondays and Thursdays are not good for them, or a Saturday morning, Elliot.
Okay.
But
All
like
right.
I said, either
Okay.
Keith or Mike should probably be with us too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. So, but once again, I haven't heard back from them. So
All right.
I'll reach out to them within the next day or two, and I'll get back to everybody.
We don't have any kind of schedule from McCormick about when he's going to come through with a report, do we?
No, and once again, I'll reach out to him
Yeah.
because
Okay.
that came up too. I'll reach out to him
Yeah.
to see, what their time frame is on that.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, Tony, what do you got?
So Steve, I was just backtrack on that LoSAP change. If the increase to 1,100 is a contribution from the district in or from the person in?
It is from the district.
So the state allows you to do that much, and if the district votes it in, then the district is going to start contributing 1,100 a year?
If the district resolves it and the public passes the resolution, then anyone who makes his 50 points under the defined contribution plan would have up to $1,200 contributed to his account for all
Okay.
years that he made those points.
Okay, regarding the class, someone wants a certificate. So when I take this, and I don't even know if this is going to apply to me anyway, but I'm just suggesting, you don't get a certificate at work. I get an email that says, thank you for completing this course. Someone could print that out and give it to you if they needed to. So it isn't going to be some HR official certificate you're going to get from a company, in my case anyway.
Okay.
And then this vehicle that's being sold, is that the rehab unit or is that another vehicle?
Rehab.
Oh, really? They're getting rid of the rehab. What did they pay for that when they bought it?
A lot of money, 53,000, my recollection.
And why are they getting rid of it?
It's
They don't
not
like
get-
it anymore.
It's not getting used enough, and it's a drag on expenses. It doesn't fit in the firehouse. There's just a lot of issues.
And there's no intention of replacing it later on.
Well, we're buying a used ambulance from Sharon Fire Department for $30,000, which is a bargain. The old ambulance would not be a food truck, but would be a rehabilitation / decon vehicle and carry some extra supplies to a fire. So if we can get 13 for the rehab, paying 30,000 for an ambulance and miscellaneous expenses, we're going to be out of problem vehicle. We're going to have an improved ambulance, and we're going to have an extra vehicle to carry such supplies to a scene for maybe a total net outlay of, let's just for argument's sake, call it $20,000 to $25,000. I think it puts
So
us,
the net cost of the other ambulance is 15?
if we can buy one for 30 and sell this truck for 13, that's 17. And then
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant though, the difference. Okay. That's it.
All right, anybody else from the public?
Hey, Steve, just a quick question. I'm sorry. I had to step away for a few minutes. I was looking at the agenda. I saw something here about firearm policy. Did you skip
Yeah,
that?
we did not discuss it.
Okay,
As a point of clarification, I think we settled it without discussing it at length at the meeting. And Russ was instrumental. Russ is a good word person. As a point of information and clarification, peace officers are not allowed to carry a firearm at the firehouse or have a firearm on district property, but law officers in the line of duty are. So we just wanted to make that clarification.
Steve, on that, one other thing, they're also not allowed to be responding with a firearm on their person.
All right, I did not review that with anybody, but that would be correct.
That's in the policy already. It's stated there that if they had it, they would have to, I think they said they had to leave it in their personal vehicle. They can't take it to a scene.
All right, but like I said, that was not a point of discussion. That was not the point of the discussion I had, but that is in the policy.
You might want to remind them.
Okay.
Steve, I have one more question on intent of that class. So if I volunteered for the lobster dinner, they may say you got to take the class or show proof you took it. But the annual vote you do that I volunteer for means what? You know, for voting.
Well, I'm the annual vote, what?
This class that you're going to make people take for harassment or whatever. If I heard you have discussions about if someone comes and volunteers for fire district, they could be required to take it or show proof they took it.
Well,
right?
We pretty much decided that your behavior is not in our purview, and if you got out of hand, we would simply ask you to leave.
Okay, all right, fine. So then, never mind that. Then I don't have the second part, which was the voting, like when we cover voting in December. What's that?
Yeah, that's Rod. We missed something. Tony's got a good point. At that moment,
I'm going.
at that point, he's an employee of the district because we're
No,
paying.
he's a hired contractor.
Yeah, I'm a hired contractor. I have my own policies as long as I don't disrespect.
Rod?
Well, if you're saying that every employee has to do it, they would be included. You could carve them out if you wanted to.
We pay them $30 to sit there for or $40 or whatever it is to have them sit there for 3 hours, and we're going to add sexual harassment and workplace violence, a 2-hour module on top of that.
It's not punitive.
Actually, it was about 6 hours last time.
Yeah, Steve, it's not a punitive. It's a district liability.
But you're not going to get anybody to do it.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's a district liability. If we're not liable, then no problem. If we have liability, then we need to talk about it.
Yeah, but you don't need to require them to take it. Your obligation is only you have to offer it.
All right.
Okay.
You've gone beyond that for other individuals, and that's fine. But you don't need to do that for everybody. So
okay.
And Steve, your point is the point. If you put it too burdensome, you're not going to get people to volunteer.
Right.
So Steve, we have to offer it to the people that we employ in the district purview.
Okay.
They have to be available.
All right. All right. Any other information, or Mike, I need you.
Mike his battery quit. I just got a text from Bob Simon. They lost communication.
So I would move we adjourn. I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Kevin, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Mike? AWOL? I vote aye as well. The motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night. I will check with the church.
Rod?
You,
have a question.
Bob and
You
Russ
can
will look at
email
the
it to you.
generator. Bob and Bob will look at AV. So we can record the meetings, and I don't know what else is going on, but thank you. That was a productive meeting.
All right.